Second Opinion is a service that we provide our gold members. And while it may look similar to Stock Chart Request, it is really quite different in a couple of ways. One is that it is time sensitive, meaning the member needs a response promptly because they're looking to execute a trade. Two is that Second Opinion is a more in-depth analysis of the stock chart because the member is telling me whether or not they want to get long or short of a particular name. And thirdly, the member need not tell me whether or not they want to get long or short. They could simply ask an open-ended question, what are your thoughts on buying or shorting, in this case, Caterpillar? So let's get to our example of Second Opinion using Caterpillar, symbol CAT, as an example, daily chart. So you can see that RSI isn't an obvious downtrend, as is price. Now, while we saw a counter-trend rally and a pullback and a higher low, the stock did proceed higher to break out above this secondary downtrend line. Now, it broke out, hit resistance at the primary downtrend line, and broke down. This is what you call a breakout point failure when it broke down below the prior support level on big down volume. This is institutional distribution. You do not want to fight these guys. Now, Ultimate Oscillator, it should be noted, is holding these prior lows. It is not breaking down just yet. Slow Stochastics had pointed out earlier in the week that they might want to hook up higher, attempted to, but failed and rolled over. MACD poised to go negative once again. Now, what's more important to me than anything else on this chart are two things. One is price action. We are testing support. Two, we saw the prior two trading days close down on rising down volume. That's a negative. So at this point in time, I wouldn't touch the stock, and in all probability, it could be a short. And when would I short the name? It could be that I open up a position on a break below 71.88, which marked the lows last seen back here on September the 11th. Now, when I would get overly short the name is on a close below 70.23. Now, this is where we really diverge from Stock Chart Request. It's because what I'm going to do now is pull back to a multi-period chart. Because what we want to do is determine how much downside do we have, or perhaps the daily chart isn't showing us that we may just have support just below. Right now they're showing 70 on the daily chart. It could be at 69.95 for all we know. What we need to do now is pull back to a multi-period chart before we develop a thesis of as to whether or not we want to either A, decide to get long of Caterpillar, or B, short Caterpillar. Now let's go to a monthly chart. Now on a monthly basis, you could see that Caterpillar had been in a trading range from, let's call it, November of 2010, through August of 15. 5 years almost. Fast forward, we saw on the daily chart that Caterpillar was breaking down. Now when we pull back to a monthly chart and we realize that we have broken down below a critical support level. And while the month is not over yet, and it could rally into the end of the month and close positive and above this resistance level, we know that if it continues to weaken with only a few trading days left in the month and closes down below $70.23, which marked the August lows, in all probability, the path of least resistance will remain to the downside. So were you as a member to ask me, Bob, thinking about CAT as a long trade, I would negate your thesis. I would say no, and here's why. If you were to approach me and say, here's CAT, I'm thinking about shorting it, I would tell you that yes, you are correct in your thesis that the path of least resistance is to the downside. I would also point out what the milestone should be. And the primary milestone on this chart, using multi-period charts, is a close below or a continuation breakdown below 70.23. and the path of least resistance will be to the downside, with the price target being a 60 handle on Caterpillar. And if you have any other questions with regard to second opinion, please send me an email to robert@thecontrariantrader.com. Thanks for watching.